Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. In this video I'd like to show you how to make this square. It's called Cat's Claw and it's been designed by Margaret McInnes. The yarn that I'm using to make this square is Scheepjes stonewashed yarn in combination with a 3.5mm hook. I'll take you step by step through the rounds that make up this square, but especially here where you have all these long front post stitches. I'll be spending a lot of detail and attention on how to get those stitches correct, and also how to correct if you happen to get a kite shaped square instead of a straight square. So we'll be spending quite some time on getting that right. So I'll show you how to make this square. I hope it's a useful video for you, and thank you for watching. Round 1, I have a slip knot on my hook. I'm going to start with a chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then close on the first chain with a slip stitch. We're now going to work 4 edges of the square and 3 double crochets on each edge. Chain 3. This is my first double crochet, and then 2 more doubles in the ring. My first edge. Chain 2. This is my first corner, and now again work 3 doubles in the ring. So 1, 2 and 3. My second edge, chain 2 and 3 more doubles in the ring. It's 1, 2, 3. Your third edge, chain 2 and again 3 doubles. This is your fourth edge. 2 and 3. Chain 2, and I'm going to close on the third chain here with a slip stitch. This is my first round made, and I've got 4 edges I should say, and the 4 chain 2 corners. Round 2, I'm going to use the same yarn as I used for round 1, but I'm going to attach this yarn because in the pattern you can also use a different color for round 1. I'm going to start in any corner stitch, doesn't matter which one you choose. I'm going to attach with a slip stitch. Chain 3. This is my first double crochet. Then I do a second double crochet in the corner also. Now I'm going to work a double crochet on every stitch. I'm just going to work over my beginning thread as I go. So 1, 2, 3 double crochets, and of these 3 that we've just worked, I'm just going to mark that center stitch, and I'm going to do that stitch marker. I'm just going to mark the post of this stitch. Just going to hook a stitch marker on there. Just going to mark that stitch. Then in the corner do 2 double crochets, chain 2 and 2 more double crochets, and 2. And again on this edge the same as this first edge, so it's a double crochet on every stitch, and I'm going to mark the center stitch, so the second of the three. So this is number 1. Then on the second stitch and the third, and on that second stitch, the one that's here in the center, I'm just going to mark that one with a stitch marker again. I'm going to mark the post of the stitch. So I'm going to go around the post of the stitch as though you're doing a front post. Just hook that stitch marker on. You can see it's on the same position here on both sides. Again, the corner, 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles. And now you can repeat again on this edge, work 3 double crochets and mark the center one with a stitch marker. Mark the post. Then corner, 3 double crochets, and again mark the center one, just like you've done here. And then I'll just see you for the last bit of the corner. Almost round. You can see my 4 stitch markers. Just on the last corner, still need 2 double crochets in that last corner, chain 2. I'm going to close on top of the chain 3 with a slip stitch. This time I'm not going to cut my yarn, I'm just going to continue from this point with the same color. Round 3. We're again going to work a double crochet on every stitch, and in the corner we work 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. And this time round we're going to mark the second stitch from the corner. Chain 3, this counts as my first double crochet. It's here on my first stitch. Our next stitch, that's going to be the second stitch from the corner. It's a double crochet. I'm going to mark this stitch again with a stitch marker. Again, I'm just going to hook my stitch marker around the post. Now make a double crochet until you get to the other side. Stitch number 2. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7 double crochets along this edge. And again, I'm going to mark the second stitch from the corner. It's going to be stitch number 6. I'm going to hook a stitch marker around that post also. I'm going to have a lot of stitch markers here at a certain point, but don't worry, it's going to make life easier for you at a certain point in the pattern. Now we're on the corner, 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles. And now you're ready to start the next edge. And this first stitch you're working here is going to be the same as the chain 3 double we did on that side. So I'm going to show you once more. This we're going to work 7 double crochets. 5, 6, and 7. And then you're going to place a stitch marker on number 2 and number 6. So you have here the corner, that's the corner, this here's the corner, this is double crochet number 1, that's number 2. You want that second one, just going to hook a stitch marker around that post, and on the other side here, number 6, stitch marker around there also. Now you're onto your next corner, and repeat the same procedure on this edge and here on your last edge also. Then work a corner, 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles in the corner, and close on the chain 3 with a slip stitch. Round 4, you already have quite a few stitch markers in your work. We're going to add a few more in this round. In this round you're again going to work a double crochet on every stitch. In the corner you do 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. And we're again going to mark stitch number 4 from each of the corners. We're currently in this double crochet here. Well, actually it's a chain 3 that counts as a double crochet. That one there. I'm just going to do a chain 3 that counts as a double crochet again. You're more than welcome to do a standing double crochet here if you prefer. Then we're going to do a double on every stitch. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to do a double crochet on every stitch. And then work the corner. That's 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles. I'm just going to go slightly faster here because I know that we've done this in the previous round also, so I'm sure that you will be able to follow me. Just want to show you where to put the stitch marker. If you now look to this edge, here's the corner. You're going to count 4 stitches back. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So this stitch here, I'm going to place the stitch marker. That's the corner. Those 2 belong to the corner. The last stitch worked on the edge and the second last stitch. So 4 from the corner, going to put that stitch marker. I'm not going on this side. If you look here, here's going to be the corners. You're going to work 1, 2 on these stitches. So your chain 3 is there, and then no, sorry, that's incorrect. You're going to work the corner stitch and then work 1, 2 double crochet. So you're going to mark this stitch here, but it's not there yet, so we'll do this towards the end. On this side, again work a double crochet on every stitch. This may be easier to show you here. So work a double crochet on every stitch. Now I've worked a double crochet on every stitch, and then just do the next corner, which is again 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles. And then we can just place the stitch markers on this edge. And then you can continue that all the way around. There you go. So again, the corners, 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. So if you just look at this edge, I'm just going to grab 2 stitch markers again. First 2 stitches belong with the corner, then the first double and the second double on the edge. So that's the 4th stitch from the corner space. Just going to hook a stitch marker around that stitch. See, that's stitch number 4. Then on this side also count 4 stitches back and place a stitch marker around that stitch. And this green stitch marker here is in the exact same position as the green stitch marker over here. So you can see this red one would have to come here, but I'll work that as the last stitch before joining. So this bit here, basically repeat this on other 2 edges also. Work your last corner, and then you're going to have these 2 stitches here that you still need to work, and then close with a slip stitch. Mark all your stitches. I know it's getting very crowded here, but it's really going to make life easier for you if you have all these stitches marked. Round 5. This is the last round in which we're going to be adding stitch markers again. Round 6 we'll be doing the magic round, let me call it that. This round, exactly the same as the previous round, we're going to do a double crochet on every stitch and then mark the 4th stitch from the corner. Just going to do a chain 3 for my first stitch. You're also welcome to do a standing stitch or a chain 2 if that works better for you. And then a double crochet on every stitch. I'm just going to do that till the corner, and then I'm going to mark the stitch to show you which stitch to mark. And one last double crochet, and then we do the corner, so that's 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 more doubles, and 2. And now we're again going to mark the 4th stitch from the corner. So stitch marker, then go 1, 2, 3, 4. So from the chain 2 space, mark that stitch. On this side I can only do after we've come back, so I'll do that one at the end. On the next edge, again work a double crochet on every stitch. And I'll just show you the stitch markers again. I'm going to work a double crochet till to the other side, and then work on your corner. And then the corner, there was a double crochet on every stitch, and then the corner is 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles. Let me just show you where to put the stitch markers again. Again, the 4th stitch from the corner, so that's the corner, so 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be that stitch there. Just hook up a stitch marker around the post of the stitch. See there, number 4. And from the other side, again, also the 4th one. Just around the post of the stitch. See that one there, number 4. So at this edge, repeat that on the other 2 also, and then here work your last stitches, and then mark the 4th one here also from the corner. Close on your first stitch, the chain 3, and then you can cut your yarn. Round 6. This is the round in which we're going to be working in all of these marked stitches from the last rounds. I'm going to start in any corner space and then work the first edge. I'm going to attach new color yarn in the corner with a slip stitch. Chain 1. This does not count as a stitch, it's just to get you to the correct height. And then work 2 singles in the corner. This is a half corner. We're going to complete the corner when we come back. On the first 3 stitches, work a single crochet on each. On the first 3 stitches, work a single 1, 2 and 3. The next stitch is a marked stitch. I'm going to work a front post double crochet in this stitch. So it's once over, then around the post, pick up your yarn and work a front post double. Try to keep this stitch just slightly loose because you want to align with your stitches here up top. I'm going to skip a stitch to the back. See, I'm skipping that stitch to the back because the double crochet falls over it. And in the next stitch, work a single. Next, we're going to work a front post treble in the marked stitch down here. So it's going to be twice over. So it's 1 times over more. And come down to the marked stitch and work a front post treble around that. And then take off 1, 2, 3 times. Again, skipping a stitch to the back. See, I'm skipping 1 stitch there. Work a single. We're now going to come down to the next mark stitch. We're going to do 4 times yarn over. So no, so this was once, 2 times, we're going to do 3 times yarn over, and then for the last one we're going to do 4 times yarn over. So this is 3 times yarn over, then come down to the marked stitch, around the post, pick up your yarn, and at this point I'm just going to hold on to my work to the stitch that I'm making as I take the yarn off, because otherwise it's going to result in a very big loop here up top. So I'm just going to take off 2 loops at a time. I'm just going to guide this stitch like so. Skipping a stitch to the back, work a single crochet on the next. And now I'm going to do exactly the same on the deepest stitch, that's this one here with the purple, with a 4 times yarn over. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 times over. Come down, around the stitch, hook up, and then take off 2 loops at a time. And I'm just holding on to my stitch, and take this slow because you want this to look nice. There we go. Skipping a stitch to the back, skip 1 stitch to the back, work a single crochet. And this is your deepest point, so on these stitches we're going to do the same as on that side. So we're going to do now in reverse order. So it's going to be 3 times over. Then on the next marked stitch, do the stitch here, pick up your yarn and take off 2 loops at a time. Just again going to just guide this a little bit. Skipping a stitch to the back, work a single crochet. Now the last ones will be a little easier. The next one here is a treble, twice over in that stitch, and then take off 2 loops, take off 2, take off 2. Skipping 1 stitch to the back, work a single, and then the last marked stitch is a double crochet, so it's only once over, 1 time yarn over. Skipping again 1 stitch to the back, work 3 singles on the last 3 stitches. On the corner, 2 singles, chain 2 and 2 singles, 2. Going to open up. At this point I can remove all of these stitch markers. I'm just going to do that, and then everything you've done on this first edge we also work on the second, third and fourth edge. And then your last corner, this corner here, you're going to have to work 2 single crochets, a chain 2, and then you can close on the first stitch with a slip stitch. I'm going to use the same color for the next round, so I'm not going to cut my yarn, so that's important. And I just want to show you what this looks like now with all the stitch markers gone. You can see here you've got this nice these claw marks here, these stripes coming down, and I really like that about this pattern. You'll notice that doing this, that your work will curl slightly inwards at this point. Don't worry about that. That'll all be fine as the square grows. So what you've just done on this edge, repeat that on the other 3 also. And you can see now why you've marked your stitches, because then you know exactly where to work all of these posts. Go all the way around. After your last 2 singles, chain 2, close with a slip stitch, and I'll see you for the next round. This is what your square currently looks like at the beginning of round 7. And depending on the shape of your square will determine how you're going to work round 7. You can have two different shapes. You can either have a reasonable, something that looks more or less like a square, like I have, or you could really have a kite shape. If you have a kite shape, you'll notice that these, this will be very much pulled inwards. You'll really have, you'll have this type of shape. If I exaggerate, it'll look a bit like that, a kite. I'm going to show you how to deal with both situations. First, I'm going to show you how to deal with the kite situation. So if this is all pulled a little inwards, how to get this line straight again. And if you don't have this situation, you can merely work double crochets on every stitch. I'll show that in the second situation, because that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to work double crochets on every stitch. But first, let's just deal with correcting a possible this situation that you may have. So if you have a big dent here in your work, how to correct for that. We're currently in the first single crochet here. Just going to chain 1 and then work a single crochet on the first stitch. So that's the same stitch as the join. That's 1. I'm going to work 2 more, so I'm going to work 3 single crochets at the beginning of the row, followed by 4 half doubles. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3 double crochets. So you're going to be increasing your stitch length, and by doing so you're going to be filling that gap. 3 doubles, and now 3 trebles. So it's twice over. 1, 2, 3 trebles. In the next stitch, a double. It's going to be 3 doubles. 1, 2, 3 doubles, and in a moment I'll show you why I should not do this. Then 4 half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4 half doubles, and on your last 3 stitches a single crochet on each. 1, 2, 3. Then in your corner you work a new corner with 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3 single crochets. Now let's just take a look at my work, what I've just done. So what you now see is that now I actually get a kite, but now it's the other way around, because now I have a point here. But if your work pulled totally inwards, making this point will actually result in your square being straight, because that's what you want. I don't want this shape. You want a straight line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo this and going to do option 2. So if you have that kite shape, that your work was really pulled inwards, work this way. And this should correct your square, that your square is nice and straight again. In your corner, you work 3 single crochets. Go all the way around, and here afterwards you're going to have 3 single crochets and then close with a slip stitch to the first stitch. At that point you can cut your yarn. I'm just going to frog this. Just going to pull this out because this is not going to work for my situation. So let me just pull back. Yes, there we go. That's the first stitch. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work a double crochet on every stitch. Chain 3, that's my first double, and then on the next stitch work a double crochet and I'm going to do that until I'm to the other side. Work a double crochet on every stitch. Then in the corner I'm going to work 3 doubles, and then go all the way around. And when I get to the first stitch, I'm going to close there with a slip stitch. Just quickly going to go to the other side and then show you what this edge looks like. So if you have worked double crochets like I have, this is what your first edge looks like. You see that straight line there, that's what you're going for. Also, if you have the had the kite shape with it pulling inward, at this point it should be nice and straight again. That's what you want at the end of round 7. The corner, I've done 3 double crochets. Then I'm going to come around and work a double crochet on every stitch. And here in my last chain 2 space, I'll also work 3 doubles, and then close on my first stitch with a slip stitch, or you can do an invisible join, whatever works for you. Go all the way around and use this round to correct the shape of your square. Round 8, I have a new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start in the corner stitch. That's going to be the center of your 3 stitches that you made in the corner. I made 3 double crochets. If you made 3 singles, that's also good. You take the center one of the 3, and you start there with a standing single crochet. Work 2 more singles in the same stitch. So you now have 3 single crochets in the corner, and again the second one is making up your new corner. I'm going to work a single crochet on every stitch for the entire edge. When you get to the other side, so to your next corner stitch, which is again going to be the second of those 3 stitches, you work 3 single crochets in there, and then work your next edge. Go all the way around and close here on your first stitch with a slip stitch or an invisible join. Round 9, going to start in any corner stitch. You have the 3 single crochets, going to start in that center single crochet. New color yarn on my hook. I'm going to start with a standing double crochet in that stitch, followed by a second double in the same stitch, in that corner stitch, chain 2 and 2 more doubles, and 2. This is your new corner made. 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles in the center of those 3 single crochets. On the straight edge we work a double crochet on every stitch. This is a nice and relaxing round. When you get to the other side, in your corner stitch, so in that center of the 3 single crochets, you're going to work 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles. Go all the way around and close on your first stitch with a slip stitch. Round 10. I'm currently in the second last stitch before the corner. That was the standing double crochet from the previous round. I'm just going to slip stitch to the corner because that's just going to be easier, because we're going to be skipping stitches in this round. So I'm just going to slip stitch to the next stitch and to the chain 2 corner space. I'm going to make a new corner. It's going to be 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles. Chain 3, that's my first double. You can also do a standing double here if you like. Double crochet, chain 2 and 2 more doubles. That's a half double, sorry, so 1 and 2. That's your new corner made. So 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles. That's your corner. On the straight edge, we're going to work a double crochet on the first stitch. So on that first, work a double, then chain 1, skipping the next stitch, and then work a double. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, and work a double again. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, and work a double. Now I've done 3 of these. You're going to repeat this until you're to the other side. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, and work a double. Continue until you're to the other side. I'll just show you the last bit of this edge also. Almost to the other side. Chain 1, skipping this stitch, and work a double crochet in the last stitch before the corner. At this point you should have 15 chain 1 spaces. The corner is again 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles, and 2. This corner is the same as the one we started with, so this edge, do this on your other 3 also, and close on your first stitch with a slip stitch. Round 11, new color yarn on my hook, and kind of depending on your size of your square you should adjust this last round. I'm going to work double crochets in this last round because I find my square is just a little on the smaller side. If you want it to be, if your square is already reasonably large, work half doubles or singles. If your square is really small, you might even want to consider working trebles in this round. I'm going to work doubles. So yarn over, and then I start with a standing double crochet in any chain 2 corner space. And work a second double and a third double. And then that center stitch is your corner stitch. Going to work a double crochet on every stitch. So on the first 3 doubles I work another double, and if, like I say, if you find that your square is already large, work a single crochet or a half double. In the chain space work a double or whatever it is you're working, and on this double crochet work another double. In the space work a double, and on the stitch. And this you're going to continue till you're to your next chain corner space, where you're going to work 3 stitches, just like you've done here. 3 doubles in this case. Work 3 also in your next chain 2 corner space. Going to continue all the way around. A double crochet in every stitch or chain space, and 3 in the corner. When you finish the last round and work away all your yarn tails, you'll see that your square might be just a little wobbly. See here I've got a little wobble in my square, so I'm just going to block this square to get it nice and straight. And when you've blocked your square, this is what your square looks like at this point. Brings us to the end of this instruction video. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again for a new project.